All right, I just want to start out by saying, first of all, this is not financial advice. So, if you take anything and try to replicate this in live markets, that is your own free will. I did not make you do this. I did not tell you to do this. It's not financial advice. Anything that I am showing you is just me showcasing my skill, displaying what I know to a friend. Okay? Displaying what I know to a friend, showing what I know to a friend, showing what I interpret to a friend. If you take this and apply it, that is up to you. That is a decision you have made, and that has got nothing to do with me. Do not say I told you to do any of this, because I didn't tell you to do a goddamn thing. Second of all, I've got a son, so in the background of this video, you're going to hear a lot of, 1-year-old doing 1-year-old things. So needless to say, there is a little bit of background noise, but don't let that distract you from the gems that I've placed in this video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Hope you guys enjoy. If you learned something, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe, who knows. I don't give a fuck what you do, but we'll see you guys in the next video. Let's get into it. All right, we're good. So I'm gonna just delete all this shit, and then we're gonna redraw it so that way you can see kind of like the whole process. So
That's a bit.
it's Tuesday. The first thing I want to do every day before I go into any trading session is pull up the economic calendar and see if there's any high impact news. High impact news is their excuse to push the market really aggressively in one direction. So we want to be aware of anything that could happen. So we see it's Tuesday.
Most definitely.
No, yeah, of course, most definitely. We see there's no news, so we're good there. So we shouldn't expect any like crazy volatile action today because there's no high impact news. So I always come out here and I step out on the weekly and I look at any of the PD arrays. Now you're like completely new, right?
Brand spanking new, bro.
Yeah, so that's all good. Over time, as you just see it more and more and study it, you'll get familiar with the PD arrays and it'll get easier for you to spot them out. So
Yeah, for sure.
I always start out with like the most recent ones that I see. So we just created a little fair value gap here on the weekly, and we have like a higher little fair value gap right here that we could possibly reach into. So I'm looking for the market to either target back into one of these areas throughout the week, because again, this is the higher time frame weekly chart. And we drop down to the daily, and we see where price is likely headed to go. Same thing on the daily. So
Type shit.
type shit, right? So we just drop down through the charts and literally just continue to do the same thing over and over. So we see we have another recent fair value gap here on the daily that it looks like we could be drawn into now. We don't have to keep this weekly one here as long as we, keep it in our head that it's there. We're already within a higher time frame weekly fair value gap there. So we just have to be aware of that. And I always keep my charts clean because we don't want to have too much shit on our chart overloading us with information. It can get overwhelming as fuck, especially when you're just trying to already just focus
It's
on
very
price.
fucking overwhelming what I'm looking at.
Right. So we just try to keep it as simple as possible. So we don't try to throw it on like a fuck ton of extra lines and shit. Everything we need, we can pretty much formulate from seeing raw price action. So
Okay.
yeah, so we have that fair value gap there that we could possibly reach into. We drop down yet again 4 hour, see where we're at. We have this fair value gap here that you see we recently peaked into and had an aggressive move out. So that's like key information. We could possibly now really build a case that price is likely to continue down into this area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we drop down again. Now
So you making that analysis off of what? What did you look at before that to make you to where it made you want to be like, okay, this is where I think I want to start? And so is this all off of just you reading the candlesticks and
right. So yes, exactly. Everything comes from candlesticks and how they're forming.
most depth. So whichever direction, the bigger, the smaller,
Right. So the bigger
kind of
time.
gives you.
So think of it this way: the big money is revealed on the big time frames because overall that's where they want to push the market.
Gotcha.
So long
So I
term,
would identify a time frame by how big the candlestick is, or
well, not necessarily how big the candlesticks, but what the candlesticks are doing. Right. So
yeah,
so right now, each time frame right now, it's like
yeah.
this could be a target if we were to continue up. This could be a target if we were to continue down. And then we drop down, and see the same. We see the same thing. Where are we likely to continue down if we go down? Where are we likely to continue up if we go up? So here we still have, you know, that previous level that we just marked out, and there's nothing really
Mm-hmm.
closer. But on the downside, we do have something that's closer. So we mark that out. Then we drop down, and we see. Look at this aggressive action here. Do we trade
Mm-hmm.
back up to this high? No. Boom. We put in a new lower low, and then we put in a lower high. So we're looking at how the lows and the highs are forming. Which direction is price wanting to reach for the most?
Yeah.
And we just continue doing that throughout the time frames. One thing that we keep in mind is what's happening as each high and low are being broken, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as we continue down, it gives us more information into like what's going on at the current moment. So we started all the way out on the weekly. We've now made our way down to the 1 hour. And now we can
Mm-hmm.
see that, price is starting to look like it's going sideways rather than just straight up and down, right?
Yeah.
So we want to mark out the easily identifiable highs and lows. So in this case, this is an easy identifiable low to me. This one all the way back here.
Mm-hmm.
And then these highs up here, they're relatively equal. And even more so, I'll delete this one and just focus on these two really recent ones. Because
Okay.
those are even more so relatively equal highs there. Now, we know the market is always trying to do three things. It's going to be reaching for liquidity, rebalancing the equilibrium, or seeking out liquidity in the forms of like a fair value gap, or a high and low. So here we just took lows. Now we try to see after every high and low what happens. So right now we took this low. It would be important to us to see if we close beyond this low or if we
Mm-hmm.
close back within. We try to see if there's any price targets that are easily identifiable here. Right now, I don't see much of anything other than these lows. So now we'll have to drop down a time frame.
Okay.
Try to make that flush. It doesn't have to be exact, but I try to make
So
sure.
nothing right up there has broke that blue where you got that blue one set up.
Right up here.
Nothing's broke. Yeah, nothing's broke higher than that.
Right. So, great observation, my nigga. Nothing's broke that. So, one thing that is important to keep in mind is when we see areas that are just too clean, we expect price to want to move through that. Smooth
Big
edges
facts.
will get made jagged. Like right here. These are pretty smooth on the way up. This is
Yeah.
breaking through them decisively.
Okay.
So as we drop through, it becomes important to pay attention to what time everything is happening. So one thing I like to do when I come into the day is mark out a few key time points. The first one being where like the new day starts. So for futures, the new day starts like the previous trading day for us because we live in America. So it's really the Asian session.
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's 6:00 p.m. for us is when the new day starts. So we'll come back to see where this new day came in, which would have been right around here.
So we have this little gap here, right where the new day started.
Okay.
I'll take that and I'll just drag that all the way across to current price action.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's one key level that I always look for. The next one is midnight New York.
Okay.
Price is always operating on New York time, so if you notice, the time in my broker is set to New York time.
Yep.
So we'll come to the New York Open, which is this high here. New York Open in price, which is this candle here. We mark that open in price out. We drag that out.
Okay.
And then beyond that, we focus on 8:30 New York and 9:30 New York. So 8:30 is an hour before the open, and that's when high impact news is, or that's when economic news is allowed to be released. There's this thing called the News Embargo Act, which it is exactly that. It's an embargo on when economic news can be released, and that lifts at 8:30 New York time. So there's always something to be watching in some market at 8:30 New York time. So we come out to see what happened at that price point. Today we didn't have any high impact news, so I wouldn't expect much to be happening at this price today. Nothing really did. Some days you'll see a crazy move, but today we didn't have any news. And then beyond that, we come to the 9:30 open, which is this candle here. Now these are the levels we are going to watch the most, along with higher time frames, sell side, and buy side levels. So we had these smooth edges up here that we know the market may want to come back to. Like overall, this is pretty flat. We just took these lows. We closed back within this range. Now, we know the market is likely to do either one or two things. Seek out liquidity in the form of a fair value gap, or seek out liquidity in the form of a higher low. We broke a high here on the 15-minute. I'll zoom in just a little bit. We have a small fair value gap here that you see price is already retraced into. And it looks like for right now, price is going lower, but this is when we drop down to the lower time frames to see if we can gain more context into what is going on in this trade. So we drop down to the 5-minute. We have equal lows here. And it looks like price is like headed there right now, but you have to pay attention to what's happening at each high and low. So here we had a high that's went back into a 15-minute fair value gap and closed within this candle here. Swept the low. This candle then closed higher. We're now breaking this low. So if we if we continue to drop down, we'll see we have this candle here has now broken this low.
Yep.
Which is another form of sell side liquidity. So we keep breaking sell side liquidity right now. On the lower time frame, I always trade from like, you know, higher to lower time frame. Most of my entries I take on the 1 minute. A lot of people, it takes experience to trade on the 1 minute, right? So my entry model requires a fair value gap to be made before I can take an entry. So if I'm entering on the 1 minute, so far there is no 1 minute fair value gap that we can enter on. We would have to wait until this candle here were to close. Right, so far, because if it did close lower, which it just did, now we have this fair value gap. Now if we were to sweep back into here, I could take this entry short. But if it doesn't get back into this fair value gap first, I just leave it the fuck alone. And that's how
Okay.
I prevent a lot of losses. And if you stick to strict rules, you can prevent a lot of stupid shit from going on.
For sure.
It takes experience, and you'll gain that. You just gotta stick with it.
Oh,
So, again, now we've mapped out everything on the higher time frame. We have targets that we can look for above, such as this 9:30 open. We have the 8:30 open. We have the midnight open. But the way price is looking, right? We have to zoom out and look from a higher time frame perspective. So let's go to where the new day starts, which is right here. So we want to look at how our daily candle would be forming, which is this one right here.
okay.
So you have to remember everything that is happening on these lower time frames is what's building the higher time frames. So
Yeah, most definitely.
right, so since this is where the new day started, we have to look at what's happened. We traded higher, and now we've taken out all these lows.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to be lower.
Yep.
We've retraced into this fair value gap here. We've now continued to break a low. We do have this massive target, which,
Yeah, that motherfucker reaching.
right. So we would just continue to stack these confluence up to build, where we think price is going. Right now, we think price is just going to continue lower because that's all it's, continue to do until we see something that's, very telling that that's not what price wants to do anymore. We continue to think that it's going to go lower. I fucked myself up a lot in the early days thinking that, price is just overextended, I'll get a bounce. And there's so many times where I would just keep trying to enter the market on the opposite end, thinking that it was going to go up after all of this, and it would just keep going down.
Type shit. Okay.
So when we reach back into this gap, we're going to pay attention to what's happening. Now, paying attention to how these lower time frame candles are forming and what they're doing. So we have this, which I wouldn't consider like a change in the state of delivery. I would say we still want to reach lower
Okay.
until we have in this case my candles are blue, until we have a blue candle that closes above one of these pink candles highs, then I would say we still want to reach lower.
You said so when the blue candle, what?
Closes. So you see how it's like
Closes.
fat as shit right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the price action stopped. So if this would have
Okay.
closed up here,
Yeah.
I would think, all right, where are we headed into this high? Right now, we could still just go take this low. Okay, so this is important right here. Got a little 2-minute fair value gap that you can see we swept into. We want to continue to watch what happens around this gap as well.
Damn there. Just broke it. Oh, the motherfuckers fighting.
Oh,
Give me a kiss. Give honey kisses. Oh yeah, he found a crayon. He thought he's like, let me color on Mary Kay Ash too. It's okay. Here you go. Go ahead, have a good time. You're already there with it. You're welcome. Knock yourself out with that, baby. Yeah, just color.
sorry, Ma. Good luck though. Go get that money, Ma. Alright, so we haven't been able to close beyond that gap yet. We still have reason to believe that it wants to go down.
Mm-hmm.
We want to pay attention to what happens at this low.
Okay.
We break the shit out of it. Now that's a trade, right? On the sweep of this fair value gap, once you don't close beyond it, you can take a trade there saying you expect these lows to be broken.
Okay. Now, when you mean take a trade, is that like we'll buy a contract or something?
Absolutely. You could be entering on this candle here.
Okay.
Or you could actually, I take that back. You would have wanted to be entering within this fair value gap here.
Okay.
Now we pay attention as to what happens next after this low is being broken.
Okay. Shit, I might have to go get some fucking bifocals to look at this shit.
Is it dark?
Ooh.
Boom. So what happened so this is why we always like wait until lows are broken. We want to stack confluences until we're like 100% confident in what's going on, right? So this is why we wait for candles to close and we pay attention to what's happening. So look what happened when we broke below this low. Well, closed below it. We closed and then immediately came back up into this area. Now we pay attention to what's going to happen within this gap that we already identified. Are we able to close above it, or does price want to, continue to seek lower? This right here could be our entry short if we think this is going to continue lower.
Type shit.
But I wait for the candle to close because the candle will tell you where it wants to go.
Okay, so how do you know when the candle closes? Is that when the stick just goes away, or?
Yeah, so when the next candle starts moving.
Okay, gotcha.
Or like right here, you see I have the time set up. And that's another key element, because none of this shit is random. We're paying attention to key times when stuff is happening. So right now, just strike 9:50 in New York. 9:50 is a key time we watch. We watch what happens between 9:50 to 10:10. What's important is between 9:50 to 10:10, you have this 1 hour candle closing, right? And this will be the 9 o'clock candle close, 10 o'clock candle open.
Okay.
So it's important to watch. What happened after we took this sell side down here? Do we want to close back within this range and maybe target back up to these highs? Or are we not able to close beyond any of the PD arrays we marked down on the lower time frame, and do we want to continue seeking lower, right? So there are things we can now delete because we've been presented new information. If we look at the 5 minute, there was a little inverse fair value gap that was created here. I'm going to delete these little sell side levels. Right? So now this other 1 minute fair value gap that we had our eyes on, we've closed beyond that. This is now an inverse fair value gap. If price is to retrace into here and we still expect this to go higher, we can take that entry.
Okay.
Because now we've broken beyond where we thought price wouldn't break beyond. Okay, so price swept back into there on this candle. It's okay to still be entering on this candle. We don't have to be entering exactly in the area that we marked out, but as close as we can. We're still going to wait to see.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, does it have to be spot on or just like within it, just close?
Yeah, if you can get close to it, like you want to be just relatively close. Being within, you want to work on being within and trusting your system enough to, where, you trust entering within the actual area.
Gotcha.
But entering around it while you're still learning is absolutely okay.
Okay.
And I don't recommend, starting out learning with real money. Look, I've been doing this shit 3.5 years. I'm on a fucking paper account right now. So this is bullish. It looks like it's going to continue to go higher. So for right now, I'll take one contract in. And if it continues higher, if we continue up to this high up here, maybe we'll cut it. But if it reverses on me, I'm only in for one contract. It's the first trade of the day. Maybe we'll have time to, reverse our position if, the information presents us to do so.
Yeah.
So this is something that, personally I'm trying just to work on, my consistency within myself. A lot of times I know it's the first trade of the day. Sometimes I don't nail that shit. But if I do, then, I just made a cool little bag off of, my first trade of the day.
Hell yeah.
So we broke above here, which was the 9:30 open, New York open. So the next target is that 8:30 open. So we're reaching for that right now, pretty aggressively.
Yeah, it's hella aggressive.
And look, my nigga, look, we're in one contract. We're up $50 right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are quite a few targets we can reach for. If we reach all the way back up here, that's great. One thing I keep an eye on is, where is price wanting to reverse at. Right here, I think this was that new day opening gap that we have marked out, which it is. Yeah. So we pay attention like where price gets stopped at. If we were to get, oh shit, I don't want to do that.
So it stop right there, and then that's when the new candlestick goes. So is this what it's saying? Like, when you said it's changing direction now because the candlestick changed.
Right. So if it
So
were
we're gonna
to
start seeing a little bit dropping.
type shit. So if this candle were, we would have to wait. Remember, we always have to wait for the candles to close. If this candle were to close below this candle here,
Yeah.
then we would expect, maybe we continue lower. For right now, we
Yeah.
continue to hold.
Facts. Because it just reopened up a blue one, so it's fighting it. Okay.
So we have some equal highs here at 8:30. We want to see what happens around here. Do we want to reverse right here, or do we want to just break this and then continue for that midnight price? And then we pay attention to what happens at the midnight price. Do we want to slow down and start to reverse there, or do we want to break through possibly these equal highs here?
Type shit. It's not that bad once you know what you're looking for.
Exactly, my nigga. Like,
Yeah, no.
and trust me, like through experience, like give yourself, don't even set a time limit on it. But I can tell you, if you study for 8 months, you'll be able to read this shit a lot better than you can today.
Big facts.
So this is important to watch for as well. If we zoom out to the higher time frame, we notice we have a 15-minute fair value gap that we're pretty close to. We want to, if this is going to stop and reverse here, we want to see it pop in there before doing so. So we're going to keep our eyes on this area here.
Okay.
So I'm going to pay attention specifically on what's happening on this candle and the very next candle that's opening up, because that is when this new 1 hour candle will open.
Yeah. 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. It's a new 1 hour. It's basically a new candle across the whole board. I think it's also a 4 hour. I think it's a 4 hour candle, a 1 hour candle, a 15-minute candle. I think it's literally every time frame candle is a new candle, which is why this next candle is important and will tell us if this wants to continue higher, or if somehow, some way, we want to erase this whole fucking move and go lower.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's exactly why we wait.
Ooh.
So, we pay attention again. Can we break this high? If we do, can we peek above this high? Can we peek into this area? We're waiting. We're waiting for the candles to close. Now, when you're trading multiple contracts, by now you've already taken some off the table.
Okay.
Now, for me personally, like I said, I want to target into this high. I really don't like how price is slowing down. And if we get and if we get into this high, already on this one contract, right now we're up $60. So we'll be up, probably up around 70, $80. But I really want to see if we can get into this high. If we continue not to close above this level, we'll go ahead and take it off.
Okay.
We like to be in trades when price is moving very decisively. As a day trader / scalper, you're trying to capitalize off of short-term intraday momentum.
For sure.
Yeah, you see, fuck this shit. At this point, I want to get out.
Yeah, that bitch is wishy-washy. These are pretty much like as precise, like anticipations, like as close as you can get it. Huh?
Right.
And you can hear from like if it breaks at your highs or the lows, either or, just whichever one you calculate and do it right.
Right. So
Okay.
us, we want to be getting out as prices breaking these highs. Really, if we can get right in here into this red zone,
Yeah.
we look like here we may go ahead and break them.
So if it's not looking promising, would you just sell the contract or something?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Steve, come on! Work with me here! Aw, give it up, Betsy. You're too small to move a big brother like me. Hi, George! Hey, what do you got there? Smells good. Hey, what happened? You moved closer, and now it's like we weigh the same. Thanks, George.
Yeah. So I think I'm probably gonna get out because I don't like the way we continue to move down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take it off right there, and we'll just
Okay.
wait to see what happens.
What's the excitement, George? Yeah, it's a great day to play in the wind. I'll get the door for you. George? Wondering how a big yellow hat would fly? You know the rule, buddy. No one is allowed to play with the yellow hat.
We still haven't gotten a candle close above this green level here since back here, which is what I was paying attention to, which is what made me cut it.
Okay.
We so the wicks will do the damage, the bodies will tell the story. After this little close here, this is all we need to now go ahead and reach for a lower target, which is what happened. We closed beyond and we flipped, we wanted to reach lower, and now we haven't been able to close beyond this level, which is what I kept my eyes on.
Okay. So what? Sell. So you're gonna sell and then reposition and find a new mark.
Well, we just after I sold that one, we just want to wait. We want to
Okay.
see, does another opportunity present itself? The market's not, you know, you
Yeah,
don't want to,
'cause
you
you're
don't want
still
to,
waiting.
yeah, you don't want to sit here and trade all day. That's not what anyone really gets in to do this for. At the end of the
No,
day,
fact.
right? No one wants to sit at the computer all day. I mean, maybe some people do,
Maybe some people, yeah, they're
but
out there.
yeah. But ideally, you want to be as efficient as possible, which is why we keep our eyes on those key times and what's happening around those key times. So now we finally got to close above that little level.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't as easy as I make it look. I studied the both Lewinsky for years.
We want to see if we can close above these highs. Now, unfortunately for us, we fucking sold this shit down here when really we should have been selling up here. But, that's trading. Sometimes you're going to make, decisions like that. We could have been selling in here, which is what we wanted to do. But,
Yeah.
hey. Fuck it. We don't want to, just take a re-entry and chase price either. Once we start breaking highs, it's already too late. So we just continue to see, does this offer a little pullback into a fair, like, does this create a fair value gap? Can we enter on that fair value gap and maybe continue to catch this move?
None wearing one of those. Bird had seen a lot of animals. But none wasn't going anywhere. I figured out what kind of animal George was.
So we did create a fair value gap there. We retraced into it. Say we think this is going to continue higher. We could take this trade.
So it's looking like it's gonna break it. So we're looking for the white of that red line again.
Both. Both. We do have these equal highs here, which I believe we could
Yeah.
probably reach to. So I like that reaction. I'll take this trade. I'll re-enter on this. I'll look to sell some of my position when we break this high here.
Hmm.
Did you wash those hands?
And then I'll try to leave one on to see if we can take these equal highs here, because it does look like we're going to continue to reach up.
Washing good. Yesterday you passed me the butter and it had grass on it.
Damn, nigga, your head don't be hurting looking at that.
Shit, you get used to it.
Facts. I'm over here like, man, this shit is almost like sports betting. The anticipation is crazy.
No, it's insane.
You want privacy? Now where is that pizza cup?
Now my stop on this would be below this candle that created this fair value gap. If we
Okay.
came all the way back down here, I'd go ahead and close that and shit, I'd just be wrong. I'd take the loss on the day.
But
But hopefully we continue to reach higher.
gotcha.
I like this reaction we had here right above this gap. right above this level here. The next level that we have is very clear, which would be the midnight open. So
Yeah. So it's pushing to go up.
that's what we would hope.
We would hope. Yeah.
If we close beyond this candle, like if we close all the way down here, then I would expect us to come back down into this gap.
Mm-hmm.
But we pay attention to this recently created gap. Like look how clean price stops there. Takes the
Yeah.
bottom of it and wants to continue up.
Yeah.
Now again, our target is going to be where these identifiable smooth edges is what we call them. Where these smooth edges are. But first we have to see us get above that midnight open. This gap here is basically our safety net.
Okay.
And ideally the gap is where we want to enter at.
I have to get dressed. I can't go out like this.
But when you're learning this, bro, when you're learning, don't sweat it. Like, my execution isn't like the best. I've been doing this shit for 3.5 years.
Type shit. Happens.
Ready. So how many eggs do we have? There are no eggs. Well, why didn't you write 0? Oh, you don't know. I thought I was teaching you everything, and I forgot nothing.
Oh no, gang, this shit scared me.
Ooh.
They may have got my ass on this one. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't know,
Yeah, so I
bro.
was beating the ass. So when doing this, you're up against like a whole bunch of other motherfuckers that's in the market right now, right?
Well, all right, so that's what they want you to believe. But bro, the market. All right, think about this logic. If the market truly relied on people buying and selling, and it truly relied on human emotion, what
Yeah.
would market swings actually look like in times of panic? We would have crashes all the fucking time, right?
Big facts.
So
yeah.
so in order to stop that, there has to be systems in place that control the market. Can we agree on
Uh-huh.
that?
Yeah.
Right. So, as you're learning, you'll see there's this thing called market halts. When the market moves up or down a certain percentage in a certain amount of time, they literally stop the market, reprice the market, and then continue trading. That's a form of intervention, right? And
Yeah.
what triggers it is the algorithms saying the market's moved too much in a certain amount of time, right?
Mhm.
So we can agree
Yeah.
that something is controlling the market.
Yeah.
So, it's not that you're up against people, it's how well can you read what the algorithm is trying to do.
Big facts. Big facts. Because I was like, all right, yeah, you do this, but wouldn't there be like, all right, let me like somebody else, like, okay, let me make them think that this motherfucker's gonna go all the way down or all the way up, and we're gonna try to make them buy in or buy out or whatever the fuck it is. Type
Yeah.
shit. And
Yeah.
then they end up, and then they just take everything for themselves type shit.
Yeah, so
Like
that
they really just ate.
type shit. So the crypto shit on like like little coins people can make, that's absolutely possible. But the stock market, no. The stock market is regulated. Like, this is dealing with the world's money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, so of course they're gonna be a little bit more strict on that shit.
This little gap is holding up right now. I like that we wigged down here and like closed within this gap.
Yeah.
Because if we look at the candle closes, we still didn't close beyond where we thought we were going to.
Mm-hmm.
This shit is worrisome to me though. I hate when I'm in a trade and it's like this. Like, I like trades where they just go ahead, go straight where I want them to go.
How rare and often is that?
How often or how rare is that?
Yeah.
I mean, a couple times a week. When, there's multiple setups throughout the day in general, but throughout the week there's an abundance of setups, and it's not about like how many setups you can take. You want to take the most like quality setups and obvious setups to you.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what Eric be meaning, man. I got them plays, man. I got them plays. Gotcha.
Now the way this is moving, I think that I'm going to move this one up to the bottom of this gap and then these two to where these equal highs are. But I'm going to pay attention to see what happens when we break that midnight, if we can break that midnight opening price up here. Right now, we're holding pretty well under this 50%. But that's the same shit they just hit us with down here.
Type shit. Yeah. You're pretty much damn near. Wow, that is kind of crazy when you actually look at the modes.
I like the way this is looking, so I'm going to add 2 more contracts on this and then set those to sell at this high here. Actually, fuck it. I'm glad I put those on. Now I'll set those to sell above here.
So buying a contract is basically So when you buy a contract, that's basically like saying like, this is where that motherfucker's gonna go. I'm gonna lock in right here, and if it hits, that's your collect or
Yeah, basically when you're buying or selling. We're putting in at these specific levels. You could buy or sell them anywhere you want, but we're putting them at specific levels we marked out.
okay. So put them at that specific level is doing what?
That's just saying where we want them to get filled at.
Okay.
Alright, so we got one coming off there, and then we're looking for our final level right up here that we marked out earlier this morning, which was the level you pointed out, those equal highs. So we're going to see if price can reach up into there.
Okay.
Right now, it looks like, we've got a full steam. Like, what's stopping us from getting here? Fucking nothing, right? Like, there's not
Yeah.
much in between price and these highs here. However, price
Right.
can slow down as we approach these highs. So we do start to watch. We do have this little high here that may cause us a little bit of resistance.
Okay, you did solve my question though. Like as far as like looking at the chart and shit, because I'd always be like, "What the fuck are all these extra lines and shit for?" And like the marks and shit like that. And I'm like, okay, you
Nigga-
gotta start from right here.
Look, I don't want to cut you off, but look, nigga, we up $300 and something. We're gonna cut this shit. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Okay. Fuck it.
We
Like
could
that, that's-
we could wait for it, but bro, like at this point, so we just made right there, as you can see, $330. What's there not to be happy about that shit? You know what I'm saying?
Oh god.
Like we can reach up there, but we just want to study it at this point. Study to see what happens for the next trade. The next trade, maybe we can leave those contracts on and reach for that.
Big facts. What is that shit called? Manager, don't be greedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So look, my nigga, right there, live for you, $300 fucking, my boy.
That's fucking insane. This nigga pop. Holy shit.
My son's in the background, fucking the room up and shit. Now look, they would have zapped our shit right here. We'd already be back down in the 200s. Like I'm cool off this. If it comes all the way back down, I'm cool. I made $300 before 10 a.m., bro.
That's crazy, bro. It's fucking insane. And it's not really that bad.
It's not.
You just gotta really know what the fuck you're doing and looking for.
And bro, that comes through time. That comes through time and experience, and putting in the hours, showing up. Like we were all the way down here. Once the sell side took, remember I was telling you we're gonna pay attention to what happens when we break this low. We broke this low. We closed
Yep.
aggressively higher. Where were we paying
Yep.
attention to next? This level here. We broke above
Yep.
this. This is our first entry right here. Once this candle breaks above that level, we can expect this is wanting to continue higher now.
Facts.
Boom, first entry could have been there. We didn't take that one. We waited until, it was like somewhere like right in here, and then we took our entry.
Yeah.
It went up. We got scared out of it here. It went ahead, ran higher. We re-entered again somewhere up here, thinking it was just going to continue to target our levels we already had marked out, which again, 9:30 open, 8:30 open, midnight open, and then this clear identifiable buy side level we had. And then yeah. That's that, my nigga. That's how simple this shit is, bro. Find the levels and
Not that bad.
bro, it's not. It's not. And there's no need to complicate it. And then, of course, we're looking at all of this in reference to time. What time of day is it? What time of day are these things happening at?
Yup. That's what my partner told me. He gave me the sauce and shit. He's like, bro, you gotta be up for this shit, bro. Treat that shit like a job, damn near.
Yes, sir, ski. Now look, on the reason I started this with like